Thank you. Thank you so much for having me here today. I am so excited to be here with Ann Holton, our next Second Lady of the United States. My name is Anne Marie, and I live here in Delaware with my husband Darren. And years ago, we moved to Ohio after serving in the United States Army 1st Infantry Division. And I have been a teacher for the last 12 years. I just want to share a little bit of my volunteer story. This election has been a turning point for me. I grew up in a Republican family, but in recent years I have been, shall we say, uncomfortable with Republican rhetoric. When they made Donald Trump their nominee, that was the last straw. I knew that I could never go back. As a teacher, I want my students to see their president as a role model who values wisdom and inclusiveness and integrity. I don't want them to see their president as a bully, someone who would rather shout them down than listen to them. So it was when I was watching Hillary Clinton's DNC acceptance speech that it really hit me. There I was on my soapbox, thinking to myself, here's someone who has endured unbelievable resistance and personal criticism just for fighting for what she believes in. But she still keeps fighting for children, for veterans, for teachers, for all of us. And so, I was inspired. I was inspired to volunteer. And the tide had turned. I wasn't just going to be a bystander in this election. I wasn't just going to vote for Democrats and against Republicans, especially Donald Trump. But I was going to work for this campaign. And so I've made some phone calls. I have had my clipboard outside of Delaware Library with my stack of registration forms. I have knocked on doors, and hopefully I have communicated my enthusiasm for Hillary Clinton and Tim Kaine. Now I am excited to introduce you to Ann Holton, who it turns out I actually have quite a bit in common with. We're both educators, and most recently served as Virginia's Secretary of Education, and we both come from Republican families. Fun fact about Ann and her family, Ann's dad was a Republican governor of Virginia, and the first governor to end racial segregation and integrate schools in the state. Ann was a part of history then and now, making her contribution to history yet again, working to send the first woman to the White House, put the final crack in the glass ceiling, and elect Hillary Clinton. As Ohioans, I know we're all used to hearing a lot about the importance of elections, but really, the stakes in this election are really high, the highest. Our contributions as volunteers, they may seem small on paper, especially compared to Ann, Tim, and Hillary, but the closer election day gets, the more our small contributions will add up, so we can go to a victory on election day. So sign up to volunteer. Come and join us for a day of canvassing. It's really fun. It really is. Most importantly, we want to spread the word about Hillary Clinton here in Delaware and across the state. So now please join me in welcoming the next Second Lady of the United States, Ann Holton.
Thank you, Amy. What a great introduction. A veteran and a teacher, isn't that exciting? Yes, from a Republican household. My dad, as Anne Marie told you, was Republican governor of Virginia in 1970. And we had the very, very special opportunity as kids, my siblings and I, with my mom and dad, to help integrate the Richmond City schools. And it was at a time when prior Southern governors had led massive resistance, and all we did was go to the schools we were assigned to, but they were formerly all African American schools. And we stood out in our little way. We mainly were worried about the math homework and how our basketball team was going to do, but we were part of history, all of us together at that school, and it made its mark on me. And really, I like to think it got me started on my career in public service, but also it's made me a passionate advocate for public education. My career's winded through many things. I was a lawyer. Actually, I met Tim at law school. I brought him home from Harvard Law School to Virginia. We say we knew we wanted to be near family. His family's in Kansas. My family's in Virginia. I'm the better negotiator. We've been in Virginia for 32 years. But I was a legal aid lawyer and then a juvenile court judge. Worked in welfare reform. Ooh, that's interesting. But they'll come back. Worked with foster youth, and somehow through that ended up at the community colleges working with kids coming out of foster care, getting into higher education, and from there to my most recent role as Secretary of Education in Virginia. I was in that role when Tim was asked to serve on this ticket and loved that job and had every intention of doing it for a long, long time. But on my very first trip with the Hillary campaign, we asked Hillary and her team how I could be helpful on the campaign, and Hillary said she wanted me on the trail full-time. Really specifically, her main number one ask is she wanted me listening to teachers, going out and hearing feedback and bringing suggestions back to headquarters. And I said, I am all in. I went in the following Monday morning and resigned my job, and I've had the best time ever since, getting to travel all over, including here in Delaware. Great day today in Ohio. This is my second trip for the campaign. I was here with Hillary and President Clinton and Tim on the bus tour. We were in Columbus for a great rally right after the convention. And now back today. I started out in Dayton with a wonderful, wonderful roundtable with military families and veterans, talking about some of the challenges and their visions and for what we need to do to make some adjustments with the VA, but how we need to make America strong and work our alliances, how we need to use our military and our peacekeeping skills. And it just, these folks on this panel shared some of their personal experiences, including two women whose sons have had 4 or more deployments in wartime. I'm a military mom. My son is a Marine, but and deployed now in Europe. But he always wants me to speak out, as I did at that panel this morning, to say, hey, his deployments have all been peace zone deployments, and recognizing what it means to have a son who's had 4 war zone deployments. And it's not a surprise that folks have got some scars, even a number of years later. And how we support our military while they're in active duty and thereafter is really a test of the character of our nation. And Hillary has been such a strong supporter of our military in every way, both during service and our vets. And it's one of the things that makes me proud to stand up here on her behalf. The second thing I got to do today, which was great fun in Columbus, I got to tour a remarkable early childhood center that's doing early childhood intervention and preschool. The Childhood League Center, if you don't know it, go look it up. I see some nods in the audience, doing remarkable work in Columbus with kids with all kinds of special needs and typically developing kids as well, serving them together, really making a difference in these young people's lives. This one young man we got to see this morning who had an early diagnosis of autism, in a program that his mother, where his mother is taught to be his first teacher and his intervener, and he showed off for me, and he just, this remarkable little guy who was had no language abilities when he came to the program 18 months ago, and is now chatting away, even though this wild crowd of strangers that imposed on him this morning. And it's just heartwarming. Hillary was working for those kind of programs that help kids with disabilities right when she came out of law school. She was working with programs that helped parents be their children's first teachers when she was First Lady of Arkansas. People talk about trust. I say, if you want to know whether you can trust somebody, look at their actions, not their words, and look at what they've been doing throughout their career. And Hillary Clinton has been serving children and families since day one. That has been what her been successful at it because she's somebody that doesn't take it when she gets knocked down. She does get back up again, and she knows how to work with people. She reaches across the aisle. Tim, in the Senate, often encounters Senate colleagues who worked with her when she was a senator, who come up to him regardless of party. I won't out them by name, but do come up to him even from across the aisle and say, we have tremendous respect for Hillary based on her work here in the Senate. We can work with her. We can get some things done. So I'm optimistic not only that you're going to help deliver Ohio for Hillary and therefore the nation, but that we're really going to be able to govern well, that they're going to be able to get things done for all of us to help make the economy work for everybody, not just those at the top, to be able to bring people together, to be able to help us be strong at home and around the world. You heard a little bit about me. I was, as I say, a legal aid lawyer and then a juvenile court judge, and before I was the Secretary of Education, all that time we were raising 3 wonderful children, and my husband was going through, he was a civil rights lawyer, then a city councilman, then a mayor, a lieutenant governor, a governor, and a senator. I just heard yesterday that the longtime child care worker who helped us raise our children while we were doing all that passed away. She's been ill for a long time, but she's on my heart now and making me think of child care workers, folks who do take care of our children and who we are entrusting with our future. And I'm so proud that Hillary's got policies that are going to help us work to elevate that profession and to help families pay for high-quality child care. So Tim is so thrilled, as am I, to be part of this operation, and he is particularly thrilled at the opportunity to be a strong man supporting a strong woman in the leadership role. He acknowledges that he's had strong women supporting him in so many different ways, myself included, thank you. But campaign managers, cabinet members, staff members in leadership roles. And now it's his turn. And there are a lot of strong men out there, I know. We've got some of them here, I'm sure, who relish the opportunity to be in supportive roles to strong women. She will, with our help, preside over the 100th anniversary of women's right to vote in the 4th year of her first term. All right. I want to be there for that. And we want her to be there. So what you all are doing is so important. Anne-Marie, and I know Molly earlier touched on it. This is a race where there is so much noise, and you all in Ohio, you all are used to being a battleground state. We in Virginia are kind of newer to it, but you all are used to people telling you how important you are. But it's really true this time. This is going to be a close race. Tim has said, he's my best political advisor. He said right from the beginning, this is going to be a close race. We're making history. That's never easy. I mean, this ought to be a 90-10 race, right? But we don't do 90-10 in this country, and we don't do 90-10 when we're making history. So it's going to be a close race. We've known that really, right? Folks who know what they're talking about have known that right from the beginning. And here we are at the end, and it is a close race. It is close here in Ohio, and it's close across the country. What makes a difference when there is so much noise, the advertising, the media, the cable news that goes on and on and on, what makes the difference is the person-to-person contact. So when you wear your sticker in the grocery line, when you go to pick up your children at school, when you go to the drugstore or come in and out of church and say something to somebody, your friends, your neighbors, your colleagues, that makes a difference. And when you pick up a phone even and call a stranger or knock on a door and speak to a stranger, you say, I'm a volunteer and I'm here to tell you why I think Hillary Clinton must be the next president. That makes a difference to people. You need to be a good listener. You want to tell folks why you think Hillary's going to be the next best president, but you need to listen to their concerns too. And that's what Hillary is one of her many amazing qualities, and I've gotten to watch her up close and personal some over the last couple of months. She is amazing, an amazing listener. She is a policy wonk too, I will tell you that. On the bus tour when other folks are taking their shoes off and goofing off from place to place, she's back there reading her briefing book and interviewing the bus driver somewhere along the way, having to hear all about her circumstances and how she was taking care of her children back home while she was doing long-distance bus driving. But she's a listener, and you need to channel the Hillary listener. Find out what folks' concerns are and be ready to help them see why this ticket can make a difference in their lives. If you each think about Everything you thought you were going to get done between now and November 8th. How many days total till Election Day? Anybody know? 47. All right. And end of voter registration here in Ohio, October 11th. Early voting starts October 12th. You guys are all on key. Good job, good job. If you think about everything you thought you were going to get done between now and November 8th, and think about what of that, well, it's just not that important. We can just put that off indefinitely. What else of what you thought was going to get done? Okay, it does need to get done, but it can get postponed for 47 days or close to it, right? How many more shifts of volunteering can you sign up for? How many more doors can you knock? How many more neighbors can you begin a conversation with, or friends? Because you all are in ground zero of this race, and every vote counts. And in this time of too much noise and too much controversy and so much negativity, those person-to-person contracts are what's going to deliver Ohio for Hillary and the nation and the world. So thank you so much for what you're doing. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm not going to talk longer because I want to come visit, and thank you for what you're doing. Thank you, Delaware. I'm thrilled to be here.